Welcome back to Full Circle with Mwikali. We promise to have Grace back on the show, if everything goes according to plan. But right now, though, let's talk about money and how important that is. And today we are learning from the ants. It's time for Money Circle. We have Joseph in the building talking to us about all this. Please take out, the last time you was here, tulikuwa tunaandika notes. So please be sure to just take out your notebook and learn. Karibu sana, Joseph.
Asante sana.
And please, for the people who are watching you for the very first time today, they missed out on the last time you were here, kindly introduce yourself and what it is that you do.
Okay. My name is Oshira Kemani. I'm a consultant in matters finances. I also run a company that is in real estate management of selling and of houses and plots. And I'm also a consultant in matters corporate governance, teaching companies how to do business in the right way.
Okay, okay. And today you take us to learn about money from like the tiniest little creature.
Yes.
An ant.
An ant.
Why an ant?
Because other than the ants, we learn a lot of things from nature.
That's true.
If we need to survive and do well in life, I think we need to observe what nature offers to us.
Okay.
And ants have a lot of things that you can emulate, that we can be able to take to the core and see what they are going to help us in matters money and investment, both from an individual perspective and from a corporate perspective. Yes.
Please, let's get to it.
I'll start from a corporate perspective.
Okay.
There are people who have connections and opportunities that they can connect us to. But sadly, when you ask people, how do you do it? How do you make money? And people drop the story of ni Mungu. I don't know if you've heard that story. Ni Mungu tu. Ni kujaribu tu ni Mungu. When ants are out about and they find an opportunity of food, if I can put that, they go and they call others and they come and start cutting away that food, which means they trust each other to that perspective. But most of us, we don't trust that if I give you the business opportunity, that I may not make the money I was supposed to make out of it. God is all powerful, but he uses people to connect people to opportunities. That's the first thing. In fact, there's a friend of mine who was saying that he went and took some few grains of sugar, dropped them somewhere. Then when the ants start coming, when they ran away, akazifuta, so that he's cheating them. When they go and bring the friends,
Hakuna sukari.
Hakuna sukari. But that's what they do. They trust each other. That's the first thing from a corporate perspective. The second thing from a corporate perspective is that ants, they work in different levels and, can I say, cadres?
Yes.
We have what we call the queen and we have the soldiers and everything else. If you are working in a work setup, in a business setup, there's something we call in the corporate governance workload analysis and skills audit. Okay. Workload are all people pulling their weight to make sure the company is making money. But we have a lot of companies that we have. There's a friend of mine who calls them lascos, people who terrorize other people in the company, but they're not pulling their weight. People who are busy, but you can't feel their weight in the business. And that's why you go and find we have companies that has the cost, what you call the labor cost is very high, but what they bring in is very few. If it's something kidogo sana. So if as a business owner you're able to get to engage everyone in the company to do their thing and bring money, then the second thing is that our people are allocated to the correct duties. That's what ants do. There are people who their work is to collect food. There are those that are building those ant hills. There are those that are protecting the queen. Everybody is aligned to what they do. Then the third thing that we need to do is about networking. There's a lot of communication that happens with ants. You may not see them, you may not hear it.
I've always wondered what their conversation looks like.
Yes, but they communicate.
They do.
And they're able to do things depending on what they do. So there's a lot of networking opportunities that are available even within us that can be able to connect people. Now, if I switch now to an individual, is that investment and savings is a science. It's a corporate science. I think I said that last time I was here. When we went to school, we were taught how to make money. We were taught how to make money. But how to invest and multiply, that is a science that we don't have. And we need to learn how to multiply that money. Can be through other things like how do you save and which vehicles do you save with. Two, How do you invest? Is it a short term? Is it a medium term? Is it a long term investment? 3, how do you even avoid the pitfalls of that investment? Debts. Friends can throw you in a pit. Family can throw you in a pit.
That's true.
That science is something that we need to understand and know how to do. The third thing they do is that ants accumulate. And they work in seasons. Because we are in seasons of abundance, and we come to a place where there is no food. But ants never go hungry. They accumulate. And what they do is that they build up stock. When we have the seasons of winter, summer, autumn and all that, they're able to work during summer and they accumulate during that time. Then when the times are not favorable, they lie and they're dormant, but they have stock and they have food. The other thing is that about the anthill, and I was watching YouTube someday and I found people who went and they found an abandoned anthill and they went and poured in it molten, they had melted aluminium and they poured in it. Then after, they poured a lot of it in that anthill.
Okay.
So when they, after it had cooled down and they broke it up, it was a huge thing. So you may find a small anthill on the surface, but deep down, they've created chambers and chambers. It even has a cooling effect on its own.
Oh, wow.
So they have that science that they do, and they follow that to the letter. So the thing is, when you're doing your investment, there's a whole science behind it that you need to go for. And flexibility.
Okay.
Now, flexibility comes in this way. If you find ants going in a certain direction, if you go and put a blockage around it, they have to find a way around it.
That is true.
So either they go over it,
Yes.
under it, whatever, they have to find a way to go beyond it. But most of us, you're working in your business, you go and find a blockage. KRA has asked question,
Yeah.
do you file returns? And from that time you say, you know what, I'm not into this business. Or you're swindled in business and you decide, you know what, I'll not continue with this.
Yeah.
There are so many opportunities that are lost when we find those blockage that come in our business. And they come in so many ways. Debts is one of it. We have to go and find ourselves, ask ourselves, why am I in debt? Is it that my money skills is wrong? Or am I dreaming too big and maybe spreading myself too thin? Or am I borrowing for, can I say, a quick fix? Because there are people who borrow to do things they're supposed to be doing with their regular income.
That's
they borrow
true.
money to pay rent. They borrow money to
buy a TV
buy
or
a
a
TV.
seat.
shoes.
Yeah.
Or can I discuss the shoes? Ladies and shoes?
Come on now.
Okay.
Be nice.
Oh, let me talk about men and their vehicles.
Yes.
Everybody has a weak point. And there are people who borrow money to, can I say, massage their weak points? If my weak point is spending on food, I'm a foodie.
Yeah.
I'm in restaurants. I'm doing everything.
Yes.
There are people who borrow to massage that bad behavior.
Okay.
There are people who borrow money to parent. Or you borrow money to soup up my car. My car is fine.
Or to even impress people, you know, to
Yes.
ukangeni kama ule say I'm liquid
I'm
24/7.
liquid 24/7.
But you're not.
Yes. So when you get into that block and you find yourself in debt, you need to take a back seat and ask yourself, why am I here?
Yeah.
Because if you don't find yourself in that season, even when the big monies will come, you find yourself there. Because all we do is amplify our bad behaviors.
Yes.
If when I have 1,000, I will travel from my house to town.
Yeah.
When I have 100,000, I'll go to Mombasa.
That's true.
Gets to 1,000,000, I'll go to Dubai. Keep it up, utanikuta Paris. If I buy clothes as to feed my bad behavior, when I have 1,000, I'll buy clothes maybe in Italy. When I have 10,000, I'll come to CBD.
Yeah, nipate huko loiter.
Ikipita 100, utanikuta Turkey. That's what we do.
Yes.
Cup of tea, I'll start with my kibanda. When I have more money, I'll go to Java. When my money kizidi Stanley, kizidi hapo, I want to go and have a meeting in Dubai. Those things happen. So you need to ask yourself, why am I in debt? The second thing, assuming you get into a place and you find maybe the business is not moving as fast as it was your business plan in place? What is it that you need to adjust to know that how do I survive? Do I consolidate? Do I drop off some things? Or what do I start with? Priorities. And that's what ants do. They prioritize what they do. In fact, There's a quote that says, if an ant is collecting food, it gets to a place, it will not sit and start eating what it's carrying.
No.
It will take it where it was meant to be. But most of us, I have very good plans before money comes in.
Yeah.
Pesa ikiingia. There's a nut that gets loose somewhere.
Like
You get excited.
Yes.
Suddenly there's a better car than what you're driving.
You want to flex.
Yes. There's a friend of mine who is watching, and I know she will kill me,
Yes.
that I need a bigger TV. We've been having this joke that your TV is too small.
Ooh.
You know, such things. And we start fueling those things.
Yes.
So ants teach us a lot of things on money matters.
I have one that I don't know where it falls in,
Yes.
but when you look at ants, they don't do a lot of work. They carry tiny little particles that don't look like anything, but because it is done consistently over time, then the outcome is bigger. So we want big things now. We want to move the big stuff, and then tunakwama. Unaanza kukataa kumove kwa sababu ulikwama. Kumbe your methodology was wrong.
It will fall into two things.
Okay.
One is accumulation. There's power in numbers.
Yes.
Because they start accumulating pole pole, and they are many, and they accumulate, and they have now this huge thing that they have. The second thing is about patience. Anyone who has made money has two characters. One is patience to accumulate, and patience to wait for that what you've accumulated to grow.
Okay.
Because there are people who wants to go and live in Runda today or stay in Karen today, but they don't have what it takes to help them grow over time to get to that thing. So most of us, we are in the microwave generation.
Yeah.
We want now. Kama
Now.
si sasa,
Ni
ni
sasa
sasa
hivi.
hivi. And that's how we now start finding ourselves doing business in a very wrong way.
Yeah.
What we are being called entrepreneurs. We want to supply air, be paid a lot of money. We want to do this, but be paid this. So it falls in those two categories, because ants, they go the long haul.
Yeah.
They don't go for the shortcuts. Most of us are going for shortcuts. You are given work to do by a company, but you do substandard work, but you expect to be paid the full haul.
Yeah.
There are people who don't want to accumulate, but they want the big life. And that's how most of them even get into debt. And if you take now them accumulating, an ant will never get into debt.
That's true.
They'll never get into debt. But for us, since I want that big life,
Yeah.
I get into debt today, like what you're saying, to show people that I'm liquid.
I'm liquid.
Na nimefika.
Niko sawa.
Niko
Guys,
sawa.
what are we doing? We're doing Vasha.
Yes.
All those things that
Yes.
people do.
Yes.
But then when you're in this space, you'll also find young ones who are like, you know what? YOLO. I might not be there tomorrow. We've also seen people who've accumulated over the years and they've passed on. And then we've seen the children now fight and everything is squandered. And it's sometimes naangalia huyo mwenye aliaccumulate alafu mimi sicha niishi tu. What would be your advice to those people? Because they're watching.
We have two money attitudes that go with us.
Okay.
Either you accumulate today, or you're the person who wants to spend today. There are those two money attitudes.
Okay.
And what we look at is that how do you balance the two? Because anyone who is holding today, you want to hold everything today, you want to get assured that tomorrow will be better.
Yeah.
But the one who is spending today wants today to be better. It's a balance of the two money attitudes.
Yeah.
And what we do is that, what if you don't accumulate? What will tomorrow hold for you? And I'll give a very good example. When COVID came,
Yeah.
all the people who are living today, they were hit so badly by that, because COVID has flipped everything that we used to do in a normal way. It has come and have flipped it.
Yeah.
Business models have changed.
Yep.
Companies that were making money from having employees in the office, they now work from home.
That's true.
People who were, the restaurants that were waiting for people to come in, these home deliveries. So anyone who had not thought about the tomorrow, the business model has been rendered irrelevant.
Completely.
And irrespective of the skills you have today, they are all gone. They are all gone. But there are people in that same space that got money out of it.
Yeah.
So we need to balance the tomorrow and the today, which means what? I take my money, I am going to set aside some money today. because the rainy day will come. In fact, the Bible says, save money because the day will come. It's not if it will come.
It will come.
It is when it will come. It has to come. So put aside some money for tomorrow. And today, don't starve yourself. In this space, if today your child needs to go and have fun, let the child go have fun. Don't save money. Akikuitisha pesa unamwambia, I put money in a policy or I put money in a savings account. Let the child have the fun today, but still in that same space, set aside some money. And that time I think we had talked about how much money should you set aside.
Yes. Maybe you can
Between
just touch on it again.
Approximately 10% of your gross income. 10% of your gross income should be put into what you call a short-term investment.
Okay.
Short-term investment is what happens in case the rainy day comes. In case I have an emergency today, if my mom is sick and I need money, where can I access my money? I can't access my money that I've locked into plots, into shares and everything. I need money that I can be able to access shortly. Either money in a circle, money in a chama, money in a savings account.
Okay.
But we have now that long-term plan, 5 years, 10 years from today. 15% of my gross income today should be going towards a long-term savings. Plots, policies, shares and all that. Which means what? Out of your 100% money that is coming to you, there's a whole 25% that's going towards savings.
Yeah.
And it takes care of the short term and the long term.
Yeah.
And emergencies, people look at emergency from a wrong perspective.
Okay.
That emergency must be something dangerous, something bad. You can get a good emergency. You may have some 100,000 and somebody else is stuck and is saying, I'm selling this car for 100,000. It's the one who has that money that will have access to that money. I have a friend of mine who stays in one of the upmarkets. Somebody came and said, I have a problem and I need 4 million shillings. I have a whole acre, and that place today, an acre is going for over 100 million. Bought that product for 4 million just because the money was available. That's a good problem.
Yeah.
So let's not think that I'm putting aside money for a bad emergency. We have good problems.
That is true.
And so long as you have access to that money,
Yeah.
you'll be sorted out.
And I think it's in the same mindset which ties in with what you'd mentioned earlier, where you know it might get tough, especially if you're in business, then you know kuna hii time yenye biashara inaendanga juu, and then there's a time it goes down.
Yes.
The same thing that the ants do, they will save up for when they're not able to run around because it's winter and it's very, very cold,
Yes.
to go looking for food. So if we don't have that mentality as well, then we will not be ready for what comes our way at that point.
True. So it's that balance, that we need that balance. So long as we have that balance and we focus, and that's why even when you're doing goal setting, you have the short term, medium term, long term. A mix of those three is able to give you the balance that you're looking for.
Okay.
And for people who are married,
Yes.
God was gracious enough to give the husband to be the spender, the wife to be the one who is conservative. And at some point, they switch the roles.
Yeah.
So God gives you those opportunities. Those opportunities are available to know when to spend and when to stock up.
Please tell us how people can get in touch with you. You know, directly, questions kama mnazo. Do you do this with on a personal level? And if the people are looking for a corporate level as well, how can they do that? And this is your camera.
You can get access to me. I have a company that we call Imne and Jimna Consultants. And you can send me an email on info@iandj.co.ke. Info@iandj.co.ke. Or you can send me an SMS or a WhatsApp on 0714 101 000. And I can be able to have this talk on a one-on-one level and on a corporate level.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And if people are looking for like investments, if I'm looking to, I have this huge amount of money and I don't know what to do with it, I do not have, you know, the skill, the knowledge to go about what to do or how to invest it, how do you go about that?
When we are having the chat, we do several things. One, we establish where are you standing today.
Okay.
Establish what you call your current reality. Do you have kids? Do you have investments? What's your income like? What are your expenses? Are you in debt? Are you in other investments?
Yeah.
Then from there we start projecting. What are you looking for into the future? And from that we're able to plan what investment vehicle do you go for? Do we get to a place where we get you out of debt? Because somebody may come and tell me I want to buy a car and everything.
Yeah.
But when you do their needs analysis today,
Yeah.
unamwambia, you know what? Can we get you out of debt first? It's like you go to a doctor and the doctor tells you, you thought you would be told, I'll give you injection and everything. Doctor akwambia, can we buy sport shoes? Can we cut down what you're eating? So we get to a place where once we establish what your current reality is, we go to a place and tell you, now based on our analysis and based on what we can see, there are several things we need to do.
Yeah.
So we pick up either it's a short-term investment or is it a scenario that's going to get you out of debt.
Yeah.
Then from there we have work from what you have into the foreseeable future.
And this information or tapping into, money, money wisdom, money moves, knowing how to budget around that, it shouldn't wait until we're this age. Like if you're already in, because you also mentioned that easy vitu hazifanyiki tukiwa shule. I don't know if it's happening now, but in our day and age, it wasn't happening. But for, people who they're starting their businesses in university.
Yes.
So from that age, you're already eligible to outsource this wisdom from you.
In fact, anyone who starts money plans when you get into the job, you're already too late.
Okay.
Because anyone who is 40, if you ask them, where did you lose it? Chances are it was 22, 23,
that's
when
true.
they were starting to earn money. If you don't find that skill then when you start, before you get into money,
Yes.
you lose it.
Okay.
Yes.
Asante sana kwa kuja.
Karibu sana.
Always a lovely time with you in studio.
And it was a pleasure to be here.
Great, guys. This has been the show for you today, and we have just confirmed that Grace will be here next week, Wednesday. So, yeah, I see all your questions. I see all your comments. So we'll pick this up next week on Wednesday when she comes back. But from me to you, have an amazing day. Have a blessed day. And, yeah, gearing up for an amazing Madaraka Day tomorrow. So, ciao, ciao.